Hello everyone, it's Ashwin Rao. Today's video brings you my very first pair from the region in the United States where I actually live. That's the Pacific Northwest. And for those of you who are in the know, that's pretty much a dead giveaway as the bootmaker that I might be featuring. This is one of the most famous bootmakers coming out of the Pacific Northwest bootmaking scene, which is probably the best and most highly regarded bootmaking scene in the United States. And this is the cruiser model from White's Boots. The 350 cruiser model is a lace-to-toe model that you can see here that features the 55 last, and in this case features a lineman's patch on the side of this shoe that's going to give it some additional protection for those who will take the shoe into the actual workforce setting. Although I will say that there are features about this boot that make it more amenable to the heritage bootmaking scene rather than somebody who's into the construction site scene. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but know your audience, and my audience tends to be those who enjoy these boots for their aesthetic. So we're gonna continue this video with an unboxing and take you through the details of the shoe and then finish up with some of my thoughts. Hope you're doing well. Take care. White's, Nick's, Frank's, and others have really focused on making boots that are typically used out in the field for activities such as construction, logging, line work, those types of work. I have historically shied away from the Pacific Northwest bootmakers because they're overbuilt for my specific use case in terms of rugged builds, lasts that are really rugged in terms of support. They will last forever, pardon the pun. First boot. As you can see, they ask that you trust the original. Hailing from Spokane, Washington. Having lived in the Pacific Northwest for nearly 20 years, I think it was due time for me to try out. So I got this boot on the used market, but it was only worn once or twice and packaged up really nice by the previous owner. So I figured I'd do an unboxing to give you a sense for what White's Boots offers for somebody who might be interested in the heritage bootmaking scene. And nice little construction. You can see the paper here popping out, and here we are with the White's paper, really tissue paper with the White's branding, the storefront. You can see linemen, you can see loggers, you can see what look like paratroopers or something like that. You can see people who are doing work, motorcyclists. This is really the target demographic that White's has long appealed to. And I don't see too many hipsters. Am I hipsters? No hipsters in this particular sheet of tissue paper. You see a pair of workwear style fabric laces that are nice to have included if you want to take these out in the field and use these more ballistic style laces. We also get 2 kilties for those who might have a purpose for these or reasons to use these for protection of their shoes. I totally get it. But those were also included here. And then we have the packaging here. Having now removed both boots from the bag, I'm going to take you through a little bit more of the details of this particular makeup. This is a boot that's built using a hand-sewn stitch-down construction. That's this double row construction where it's folded out and stitched down to the midsole, and then there's a second stitch that runs to the outsole, and then you can see this reinforcing stitch. This particular pair has a commando half sole, meaning that this has a rubber forefoot, and then the leather which is exposed along the waist, and then a commando style heel block and top lift there. Here we see a Cuban style heel, and they're classic 350 cruiser construction with this additional lineman's patch. Now, the lineman's patch is a functional element of this shoe that protects the leather from abrasion and wear and tear when the worker's footwear comes into contact with a wooden pole or additional lines here where there's a lot of wear and tear that can happen here. So this patch is there to protect that. If you were a lineman, I am not, but hey, it's still cool to see that. They've included rawhide laces, which are nice, and you see a total of 5 eyelets followed by 3 speed hooks. These are brass speed hooks, and then a final set of terminal eyelets where you can stow away your laces. Nice little touch there. This particular boot has the White's Boot branding that you can see right there, handmade in Spokane, Washington. Has their traditional pull tab, and then the other side of the shoe you can see all through here is a very well constructed pair of shoes. Here we see a triple row of stitch and side paneling of both the shoe and the heel counter, as well as the tab here, and a single row of stitching up top across the collar and along the facing here. The heaviness comes from the materials used for both the upper and the sole. This particular makeup was made using a Toscanello horsehide leather from the Maryam Tannery, which is a horsehide leather that has a nice ability to darken and patina. They even say that over time this leather should darken to almost a tone or a closer tone to this dark brown leather, which I believe is from the Seidel Tannery. So this will darken up over time and give more of a monotonal look, which will allow the brass to stand out even more and stand out more with regards to the contrast of this natural edge dressing. The double row stitch down construction here has a lower stitch density by quite a bit than, say, a brand such as Viberg, XBXS Boots Factory. But these are really shoes that are meant to last a lifetime and then be resold. And White's Boots 55 last for those of you who are interested, which is a round-toed last. The biggest feature of the 55 last is that it has a tremendous amount of arch support. More than any other pair that I've ever owned, this pair really puts so much arch support and has a high enough heel that it almost feels like you're wearing a shoe with a little bit more sloped feel. That arch has the ability to effectively shorten your foot because it has to deal with more of that arch. So when you're considering your pair, you're going to want to go down at least a half size from your Brannock work style laces rather than the rawhide laces. Since I'm apparently a hipster in buying this pair, that may not be necessary for me. The other thing that I think is relevant is that many of their models have a structured toe with either celastic or steel reinforcing the toe area. This has a unstructured toe, but the unstructured toe will give this a different level of protection to, say, the worker who's out there in the field and may take a blow to their forefoot. So again, White's is considering this collaboration with Freenote cloth, keeping in mind us more style-centric individuals. You can already see that this shoe has been worn and has some rolls on its neck here, which I think are really beautiful. It's one of the things I love about horse hides is that they roll really well. Here are some final views of this beautiful White's Cruiser model done in collaboration with Freenote. So I think this is a beautiful makeup. The Toscanello horsehide, the stitch down construction, the lineman's patch with a slight contrast in the type of leather and the sourcing of the leather between the horse butt and the Seidel dark brown grained milled leather really adds quite a bit of potency to the look of the shoe. Now I'm gonna have to see if I get along with that 55 last, which it's remarkable arch support. I hope you're all doing well. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.